You're listening to Confessions of a Counselor podcast. Here we will talk all things mental wellness.
Hi everyone, it's Janice here and welcome back to Confessions of a Counselor podcast. Today I thought we would talk about something that I talk about a lot in session. So this is a phrase that you will hear me say a lot if we work together, and something that I think is really, really important for everyone to remember. So this phrase is feel your feelings. So oftentimes when I have clients come in to the office, they're hesitant to feel their feelings. Well, what if this feeling never ends? Or what if it's too big? Or all these really terrible what if scenarios that pop up into their head when they think about really experiencing their feelings. So today I thought we would talk about what does feeling your feelings look like and where is a place that you can start. So as always, I typically have a visual cue when talking about a topic. So the visual today is I want you to imagine one of those big like wooden wheels that you would see on like a pirate ship. So the big wooden wheels, and it's got all the spokes coming out of it. So once you can kind of imagine that in your head, I want you to imagine that each of those spokes is a different feeling. So not just negative feelings, not just positive feelings, any feelings. So it can be happiness, joy, sadness, anxiety, fear, overwhelm, frustration. All the spokes on this wheel are all the different types of feelings. So when we imagine that this big wheel with all the spokes have all the different feelings, we can see that wheel kind of inside of us. So we all have this wheel that's turning inside of us, kind of dictating, if you will, what feeling we're having. And it's not so smooth as that, but this is the visual I like to see. And the best example to see how this wheel kind of works is if you can imagine a small child in your life. So a kid that's probably between the ages of like 2 to 5, where they go from feeling to feeling to feeling to feeling very quickly. So they're happy, they're sad, they're mad, and then they're back to happy again, and you're like, how did you get there in 2 minutes? What's happening is that there is no gunk in their wheel. So this wheel is just moving quite fluidly. And we say that there's research that shows that a feeling that is not prohibited by anything can last about 90 seconds. So that's what's happening in a small child. They're just feeling their feeling without any story, without any attachment to it, without any worries or fears or what ifs. They're just experiencing the feeling mad. And once they feel the feeling mad is done, and they move on to the next feeling. And this is what we want our experience to be. But what happens over time is that we get mad, and then our dad says, "Stop being so mad." Or we don't get angry in this household. Or perhaps we're crying and mom says, "You're so dramatic. Why are you always so dramatic?" And that's the story that we start to tell ourselves when we get mad or sad. And then we stop feeling the feeling fully. We start to stuff it. We start to feel embarrassed about it. And all of these different things start to influence the way that we feel our feelings. And so we're not feeling them like the 2 to 5-year-old is, where they're just feeling the feeling no matter what it is. And so over time, what I say is that the spokes in our feeling wheel start to get gunked. They start to move slower. They start to get stuck, and they become really hard to experience our feelings. So what we want to do is start to ungunk this wheel. And so that's where feel your feelings is a phrase that I use. So when we experience a feeling, to really sit in that feeling and experience it all the way through. And I promise you that the feeling will end. Okay? I know that it doesn't always feel like that, but if you look back on your history and you ask yourself, have I ever only experienced one feeling forever? The answer is probably no. So the feeling will end. And so we want to sit in our feelings and give ourselves some time. So I will leave you off with this suggestion on how you can get started. So the biggest example that I give is to set a timer. So however long you feel like you can stay within your window and feel this feeling, I want you to set a timer for that amount of time, whether it's 30 seconds or 10 minutes. Set a timer. Feel your feeling as much as you can without telling yourself a story about the feeling, but just really feel it. And when the timer goes off, I want you to get up and go and do something that brings you joy. Go and do something that helps you to feel better. Okay. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Confessions of a Counselor podcast is available anywhere you like to listen to your podcast, both on Apple and Android. New episodes will be released every Friday. If you enjoyed this podcast, please feel free to join the conversation. Leave a review or subscribe to the podcast hosted on the Anchor app. All these details can be found at janicelyons.com. Until next time, take care.